Welcome to the Fear and Greed Daily Interview. I'm Adam Lang. For businesses in Australia and right around the world, sales and marketing have always been the two major engines for revenue growth. But a third channel is now emerging. A whole generation of consumers is actively seeking to avoid the traditional sales process and cut through the clutter of marketing. Instead, they're researching online, collecting recommendations and customer reviews, and finding the best prices. So how do you reach these customers to drive your business? The answer is the third channel, partnerships. Adam Furness is the Managing Director of Impact, an international company that specialises in partnerships. I'm also pleased to say that Impact is a proud supporter of Fear and Greed. Adam, welcome to Fear and Greed.
Adam, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I know you've been a long-time listener and we're grateful for that.
Long-time listener, first-time caller, I think that's
Yes.
what they say.
Companies such as Uber, Nike, Canva, Woolworths and eBay are using your partnerships to power their sales success. What revenue growth are you seeing from the effective use of partnerships?
Yeah, so I think maybe a good way to kind of kick this one off is in 2019, we commissioned Forrester as a trusted research company to look into the channel of partnerships. So what their research found was that companies with mature partnerships programs grew revenue twice as fast as those without partnership programs. So they found that the channel in these more progressed businesses was driving over 28% of total revenue and growing 50% year on year. So this is an average. We've actually seen it much higher. In fact, Booktopia, as an example, who I'd classify as a fairly mature business in this partnership space, grew their revenue in the channel by over 200% in the last 18 months.
That's amazing. That's a great Australian success story too.
Aren't they?
Oh, that's terrific. So, Adam, for those of us not familiar with partnerships, can you take us through the partnership life cycle and what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely, Adam. So, look, I guess partnerships is any two businesses working together in some way, shape or form. So in a partnership, you need to kind of find the partner that you're going to work with. So in a life cycle, I'd say that's sort of, discovering who is that other business or other individual that you want to work with. There's some kind of engagement or an agreement around the terms of how you're going to work together. So let's call that a contract or an agreement. Then there's, tracking or reporting around how do you tell if that arrangement is going to work. There might be some kind of optimization to ensure it's working and making tweaks. Now, if you're in the online world, you probably want to protect that as well from anything dodgy. So there's some protection layers. There's ongoing communication, which is important. So a channel for you to communicate, and then payments. How do you actually make those payments? So all of that I'd consider the partnership life cycle. So discovering, contracting, reporting and tracking, optimizing, ensuring it works, protecting, engaging through communication, and then making payments.
Okay, so partnerships and alliances have fueled relationships for centuries. For those of us not familiar with partnerships, again, how are the business partnerships being formed in the online ecosystem?
Yeah, they certainly have, Adam. It's really just a new way of doing old things, I'd say. So let's use an example from the physical world and compare it to the online world to illustrate. When I go to my butcher, my local butcher down here at Freshwater in Sydney, and I buy my favourite gourmet sausages, he'll always send me to the baker across the road to get fresh bread rolls, as he thinks they're the best. And you know what, Adam? He's right. They're pretty good.
He's done his research.
And when I tell them that George sent me, they'll always throw in an extra bread roll. Now, that's a partnership of sorts. George, the butcher, wins because I keep going back. Now, I can't remember the baker's name, but she wins too because she got my business, and I win because I got great bread rolls, a bonus roll, and a happy family. So it's a win-win-win. So that's kind of a physical world example. So now let's use an example in the online world. I'm going to use you as an example here, Adam, because I know you're a music fan.
I am.
I believe one of your favorite bands is UMI.
You are correct.
That's good. That's good. So you may be listening to UMI on Spotify. So you're listening to your favorite UMI songs, and then what happens in the background is that a link could be surfaced to show you there's a concert for UMI. They're touring. It's in Melbourne. It's next week. You click on that link, and then you can purchase some tickets via Ticketmaster. That's actually an example of Ticketmaster and Spotify having a partnership, a relationship where Spotify wins because they're adding value to you as a listener. Ticketmaster wins because they get a sale. And Spotify also wins because they get paid by Ticketmaster for driving that sale.
And in theory, I win because I get to see UMI play Berlin Chair in Melbourne.
Exactly.
Got it.
So it's a win-win-win.
That's a good illustration. It works for me. Stay with me, Adam. We'll be back in a minute. My guest this morning is Adam Furness, Managing Director of Impact. In terms of the traditional sales and marketing channels, how do partnerships work alongside those for the business?
Sure. So I'm going to use another example here. Let's say Nike. So you want to buy a pair of Nike Air Max. You might go into a store and there's salespeople in the store and they're trying to sell you these Nike Air Max shoes. I'd say that's kind of your traditional sort of sales. Then you might go online and you've gone on the Nike website. You leave the Nike website and you start seeing these ads following you around the internet.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of marketing. You may go to a fitness website. There might be some more ads for Nike there. I'd say that's marketing. There's some kind of behavioral targeting. Maybe Facebook's involved.
Mm-hmm.
All of that, I'd say, is kind of marketing. From a partnership perspective, Nike might have a relationship with, let's call it a BuzzFeed or a Pedestrian, where their journos, who are well respected, will write content, and maybe the content is around the top 10 running shoes. And within that content, there might be New Balance, there might be Asics, and there also might be Nike. Now, if you click on that link to go through to the Nike website to purchase, that partner, if you like, so Pedestrian or BuzzFeed or whoever wrote the content, they'll be paid a commission. Now, that's a partnership of sorts because it's a deeper kind of relationship that's happening. And also the journos involved are only going to write about what they truly believe in. So I'd call that a partnership.
Okay.
Another example would be with Nike once again. So imagine you went into, Virgin Active gym and they had a cabinet where you could try on some Nike shoes. If you like those shoes, you could scan a QR code and then you could buy those shoes via Nike online with maybe a Virgin Active discount code. Virgin Active would get a cut of that sale, and all this is kind of happening in this virtual world. So Impact plays a role in the back end around the tracking, around the reporting, around the payments. That's kind of how we fit into the world.
Got it. So that's some incredible technology that's driving that. And given that so much of the path to purchase anything is online, digital, and 24 hours a day, where do partnerships need to be and what is the sort of technology that's involved?
So you got to think through it kind of the day in the life of a customer. So what do they do when they wake up? What new websites are they on? What apps are they checking? Where do they have their coffee? How do they get to work? What are they passionate about? What entertainment are they into? Who are they following on social media? So what influencers are they following? And then think about the partnerships that are going to deliver value to them in what space. So what is that content site, that mobile app, that influencer, that cashback or coupon discount place they go before they go shopping online? What charity do they love? What's the business they frequent either online or in the physical world? And then how do you get your message in front of them in any of those areas? So when you're thinking about that, where the technology plays a part is you need to discover these types of partners, you need to, once again, contract, report, track, ensure it's working, protect it from anything dodgy, be able to communicate and make payments. And you need to be able to do that at scale. And the only way you can do that at scale is by having technology.
So I imagine that this field has evolved a lot in the last decade. Can you give us some examples of where you've seen it work really well and perhaps even not so well?
Yeah, it certainly has evolved. Let me use the example of Canva.
Great Australian success story again, yeah.
A great Australian success story, absolutely, Adam. So Canva recognise they have a really powerful asset in their Canva certified creative network. They call it the CCC. Mm-hmm. So it's a group of Canva super users who educate others on how and why to use the tool. They use Impact to provide unique tracking links and discount codes that ensure they can incentivize and reward these evangelists of their product. So that's a kind of a great use. They also work with integration partners. So Canva thinks outside of the box when it comes to their partnerships. And through Impact, they've been able to create unique integrations with partners and companies like HubSpot or Wattpad, where Canva have these design templates where via these platforms, they're able to build marketing emails and digital books. And then Wattpad or HubSpot actually get paid for the sign up. So collectively, they've generated, I think, over 1 million new users and 150,000 new subscribers to Canva. So I think that's a great kind of example there and success. So I think it needs to be a win-win for all. Where we've seen it hasn't worked is where someone's being greedy or they're being too tight or they're not thinking about the end consumer.
Right. So somehow compromising the people who participate in these partnerships.
Exactly.
We'll be back with more in a moment. I'm talking to Adam Furness, Managing Director of Impact. A prevalent topic is that of privacy, and I think what we're hearing from you and Impact is this world of partnerships is digital, it's incredibly connected, mobile devices play their part, and learning a lot about what people want. So connection and trust have never been more important than now in fostering long-term relationships. How does that affect partnerships?
It's super relevant. It was only last week I posted the best piece of advice I've ever been given. And that is your word is your bond. My father actually told me that, Adam. So, and what that is, I mean, it's all about trust. And I think it's more important now than ever. Look, we tend not to trust salespeople for some reason. I hate answering phone calls. I think someone's going to try to sell me something, so I always put my phone on silent.
Right.
Trust in advertising is decreasing. 50% of people have downloaded ad blockers, which is a bit of concern. And so generally consumers aren't really happy around sort of this space. So consumers are looking for referrals. They're looking for trusted brands. They're looking for recommendations from their connections. So partnerships and alliances are really important these days to cut through all of this clutter, to kind of build trust and leverage relationships.
Okay. Internet advertising will soon have to manage without the digital cookie, and laws around data privacy continue to evolve. How will this affect sales and marketing and partnerships?
Yeah, well, the ad blockers, the lack of targeting, so, this cookie-based targeting going away. Those that want to get ahead have to think about how do you track differently. So whether that's, tracking via referring URLs or having some kind of integration, some technology like APIs and server to server. So they really need to think about how do you track without cookies. And I think it plays into the strength of partnerships where it is a future-proof method and there's endless opportunities. So if you're thinking about your business and you're thinking about, how do you continue to grow, you could partner with any individual or any other business that makes sense. And it's kind of endless when you go through that exercise. And as long as you've got the right technology in place, you don't have to rely on cookies and you'll be able to future-proof yourself.
So from, I guess, small businesses, startups, through to very mature businesses, we all know we've got relationships. We've got relationships with our clients, with our own staff, with suppliers. If a business is considering the partnership model, what do you recommend they do?
So it starts with the people. If you are considering partnerships, it's within your business, who's actually going to run it for you? So who's going to be focused on it? I think it's really important to have someone as their job to focus on partnerships or part of their role to focus on partnerships. Then what's the process internally? Where does this person actually sit? Do you have your own department? Do they sit within a marketing team, a business development team? And what's the process? How do the teams kind of work together? Mm-hmm. What's the breadth of your partnerships as well? How broad can you go and who do you want to partner with? And do you have some technology there to help you scale as well? So think about others that have done it successfully and connect with them. Speak to your customers and understand what a typical day looks like for them. Then get in touch. I'm active on LinkedIn and always happy to help or connect you to others that might be best suited to answer your questions if I can't answer them.
Okay, so I think some of that advice you gave earlier around really focus what's in it for your customers, don't be too greedy, and consider that is what you're building is going to be hopefully a successful and long-term partnership. Is that about right?
Spot on, Adam.
Adam, thank you very much for talking to Fear and Greed this morning.
Very good to be here. Thank you.
That was Adam Furness, Managing Director of Impact, an international company that specialises in partnership. This is the Fear and Greed Daily Interview. Join Sean Aylmer every weekday morning for the full Fear and Greed podcast with all your business news. I'm Adam Lang. Enjoy your day.